سلام على عباده الذين اصطفى أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم قل هو القادر على أن يبعث عليكم عذابا من فوقكم أو من تحت أرجلكم أو يلبسكم شيعا ويذيق بعضكم بأس بعض انظر كيف نصرف الآيات لعلهم يفقهون وكذب به قومك وهو الحق قل لست عليكم بوكيل لكل نبأ مستقر وسوف تعلمون صدق الله العظيم وبلغنا رسوله النبي الكريم ونحن على ذلك من الشاهدين والشاكرين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Surah Al-An'am, قُلْ هُوَ الْقَادِرُ عَلَىٰ أَن يَبْعَثَ عَلَيْكُمْ. The Prophet ﷺ is commanded to say to the mushrikeen that Allah is the one who is fully capable that He should أَن يَبْعَثَ عَلَيْكُمْ, send upon you عَذَابًا مِّن فَوْقِكُمْ, punishment or adhab from above you, أَوْ مِن تَحْتِ أَرْجُلِكُمْ, or from beneath your feet, أَوْ يَلْبِسَكُمْ شِيَعًا, or to put you in confusion through making divisions within you. وَيُذِيقَ بَعْضَكُمْ بَأْسَ بَعْضٍ, and make some of you taste troubles through some others. So in this ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has reminded the mushrikeen that in the previous nations, the stories of which these mushrikeen had heard, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent down different kinds of punishments, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has full authority and full capacity to send those kind of punishments upon you as well. So the first kind of punishment that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned is punishments that azab of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that comes from the skies or from above the people. So that would mean, for example, on some nations Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent down a fast wind that destroyed them. And then on some nation Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent down stones, a rain of stones from the sky. The nation of Sayyidina Nuh alayhi salam, ala nabina alayhi salatu wassalam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent down a punishment which was a combination of both. So there was rain coming from the skies, from their top, and then the earth started erupting water from beneath their feet as well. Similarly, there was nations that were drowned into the earth, into the land, or their feet were stranded in the land, in the earth. These mushrikeen, a lot of them had seen a punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with their very own eyes in the year that the Prophet ﷺ was born. Just before his birth, a few months before his birth, a huge army of Abraha had come and they had tried to destroy the Ka'batullah, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had sent down a punishment upon them from the skies that out of nowhere small birds came and they pelted them with tiny stones that destroyed the whole army. So you have experienced, you know about these, you've heard about and you've seen these punishments that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends down on people. And another kind of punishment Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned that these Quraysh were experiencing at that time as well. أَوْ يَلْبِسَكُمْ شِيَعًا وَيُذِيقَ بَعْضَكُمْ بَأْسَ بَعْضٍ, that they had a lot of division among them. So their tribes, so they were first divided into tribes, then each tribe was divided into groups, subgroups. And they were, if not fighting with each other, they were at odds with each other constantly. And a lot of them were having battles and fights among each other that were going through generations, that were spanning over generations. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said that this is also a punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can create divisions and rifts among you, that you keep on becoming a test for each other. And this is, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us, but these are the kinds of punishments. Only something being pelted down from the sky or something coming out from the earth is not only those are not the forms of punishment, but may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us. Having fights and differences among families, among societies, among people of the same country, among people of the same belief is a punishment from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is azab from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioned here in this place and also in some other ayat of the Quran. So we see today that may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us. Our ummah is also going through this kind of a punishment. Hazrat Mufassirin and Maulana Mufti Shafi Sahib has written that based on deen even, small differences are made so huge that people are ready to fight till death on these differences. So these differences this is also a punishment from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that's a result of turning away and neglecting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, forgetting about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in our daily lives. So that is also a punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Here Hazrat Mufassirin have discussed there's a hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam where the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has said that differences of opinion in my ummah are in actuality and reality a blessing. So what kind of differences is the Prophet ﷺ talking about? And we see that even in the people who are on the right path, who are very knowledgeable and who have a lot of taqwa, still there is minor differences of doing or following the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. For example, the four major fuqaha, the aimma of the whole ummah, Imam Shafi'i, Imam Abu Hanifa, Imam Malik and Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, they have differences of opinion in some regards. But the thing is that these differences, the hadith applies to these differences, the kind of differences that these great ulama and mashayikh had among them. Why? Because even with the differences that they had between each other, they had a lot of respect for each other. And they were ready to pray behind each other. And they told their people and their followers not to lose the respect of the other side. And these differences were not in aqaid or in the core of deen. They were not even about, these differences were about very peripheral things. So these differences in which there is no fights and every side is ready to respect the other, and which are not the differences of aqeedah or the core of deen, these differences are in actuality a blessing for the ummah, because it creates multiple options for the ummah that they can pick one imam and follow their way. And this is, Hazrat ulama have written that this is actually wajib upon every single Muslim, that even if they find difference of opinion in ulama haqq, in the righteous ulama, the people of taqwa, if they find differences of opinion, then they have to, this is at least this much is wajib upon every single Muslim, that they judge for themselves who do they think is closer to the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who has more taqwa and ikhlas, who has more sincerity, and who is more God fearing. And then if they are able to judge between these people, then they can choose the fatwa of any of these muftiyan or any of these ulama. If they have a difference of opinion, they can choose one among them and follow their advice. But still, it is as much necessary to not disrespect or humiliate or think low of the other ulama who are also on the right path. So this kind of ikhtilaf, this kind of difference is actually in actuality a blessing. Otherwise, what we see around us, that somebody has to say Ameen loudly, and they are thinking that everyone else who's not saying Ameen loudly is na'uzubillah not saying, doing salah properly, or you are forcing your opinion on someone else, or you are willing to fight or declare people non-Muslim or bid'ati or na'uzubillah deranged. These kind of ikhtilafat are the actual rifts that are punishment from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us and every single person of the Ummah Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam from these differences and from these azabat. انظر كيف نصرف الآيات لعلهم يفقهون. So see how we bring forth explaining verses from different angles so that they may understand. This refers to how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given them an obvious example of these azabat that they have heard of, that they know and they believe to be true, and then they have also experienced. وَكَذَّبَ بِهِ قَوْمُكَ وَهُوَ الْحَقِّ قُلْ لَسْتُ عَلَيْكُمْ بِوَكِيلٍ. Your people, Allahu Akbar, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, your people have rejected the Quran, وَهُوَ الْحَقِّ, while it is the whole truth. قُلْ لَسْتُ عَلَيْكُمْ بِوَكِيلٍ. Tell them that I am not appointed as a master over you, in charge of your affairs. I am not. My job, as has been explained in previous ayat, is to tell you what is right, to invite you towards good through logic, through showing you signs, and to warn you about a end if you do not believe in the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The way I am teaching you things, you don't believe in it. I warn you about the terrible end that you are going to face, but that is my job. I am not in charge of your affairs, or I am not responsible for what you do even after I've done my da'wah. لِكُلِّ نَبَإٍ مُسْتَقَرٍ. About the azab that you ask for, tell them that for every event there is a point of time and place to occur. So it's not hidden from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's not beyond the control of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The one that you are defying, He has fixed, and in His perfect knowledge He knows the time and place where that azab is going to hit you, but it has a specific time and place, and that is not my control, and my job is not to control these things. وَسَوْفَ تَعْلَمُونَ. And you will soon know it, you will soon learn about it. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from being those who defy the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and challenge His anbiya through our ways and our sayings, what we say. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from all evil. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. Allahumma ja'alna min ahli al-Qur'an alladhi ahluka wa khasatuk. رب اغفر وارحم وأنت خير الراحمين. صلى الله تعالى على خير خلقه سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. آمين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.